Hello everybody. So today we are going to look into the pick up, jump back and jump through. I will demonstrate the pick up, jump back and jump through, and then we're going to break down and look into a bunch of different little exercises that you can do to work your way towards it. Like anything else, is really consistency and repetition. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with the Ashtanga yoga practice, the Vinyasa, we call it Vinyasa in Ashtanga, is that little pick up, jump back and jump through. Once we finish the standing part of the primary series, we get to the ground and there's a bunch of seated poses. Between those poses, there is that pick up, jump back and jump through. And I'll demonstrate in a second. We often do it between, it's done traditionally between the right and the left side. So each time you do a pose on the right side, you're gonna do the pick up, jump back, jump through, and then do it on the left side. Again, pick up, jump back, jump through. I highly suggest, if you just started your Ashtanga practice, to take it easy. You don't have to do the lift, pick up, jump back, and jump through between the sides, maybe not even between every pose. Give yourself a break, and you're gonna work your way slowly towards actually doing the full pose. So let's start with the foundation, which is the most important thing. And before I get into that, I'm going to demonstrate what is the pick up, jump back, and jump through. So let's say we finish a specific pose. Let's say Dandasana, that's the first pose. Now we're gonna do the pick up, jumping back into Chaturanga, and then jumping through to get into the next position. So first thing that I want you to really pay attention to, it's the palm. I talked about this before in my previous videos, but I don't think it's ever enough. Don't forget your palms. Every time you do any arm balance, your palms are your foundation. So you really got to work on distributing the weight throughout the palm. Make sure when you place the palm down, as I always repeat, often the weight just dumps into the wrist. Make sure that's not happening. So keep rooting down through the base of each finger and the top of each finger. So really grip the floor, grip the floor. Slide the base of the top of your finger towards the bottom base of your finger. Work them towards one another. And think of lifting the arches of the palm, and most importantly, work those two bases towards one another. So what will that help you achieve? Watch the back of the wrist. If I just do this, the weight goes into the wrist. I press my fingers so much down, there is actually lightness. Almost think of rooting down through the base of each finger and lifting this arch, the base of the wrist, so much, almost think like you're trying to float the forearm up and over. So lift, 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 lift the energy up, press down in order to rebound and rise up, creating lightness on the wrist instead of just dumping the weight into the wrist. That's one of the most important things. I'm gonna show a couple of variations using the blocks and without the blocks, and then as well using those little kind of stools that really help if you have any wrist issues. So starting here in the seated position, one of the most, it's all kind of important place together, but in order to pick up and jump back, you really need to compact into the smallest ball ever. So let's say cross one ankle over the other. Now you want to work first on press the heels in towards the buttocks. Keep squeezing it in and keep squeezing your knees towards your shoulders. And maybe for the start, you just work it here. Stretch the hands forward, squeeze the knees into the shoulders. Scoop, scoop, plug the heels in, plug the knees in. Curl, 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 curl. Then maybe switch the crossing and do the same thing. Now, next step, you're gonna start placing the palms down onto the ground. Now again, make sure, because often what people end up doing, they do this in order to gain height. Don't do that, rather elevate your palm with the block, which will give you more height, so you can actually lift and shoot it back till you build enough strength and the bundle lift, that way you don't need the block. So make sure you're not doing this, please. Palms are flat. And then start by squeezing in. For the beginners, many of us, just place your feet down on the ground, press the palm down and try to lift the butt up and down. And then move into the next pose, or switch the crossing again, little lift, and slowly bring it down. Then maybe try with both feet together, which is harder, working all the way towards Asana, and just always alternate with which ankle you cross on top of which one. And then demonstrating it here with the blocks, same thing. Feet in, do a little scoop and down, scoop and down. As that gets easier and you feel like you're distributing the weight equally throughout the palm, then maybe press the palms down, press the feet down, scoop the hips up, maybe add the heels, curl, curl in, and slowly come down. Switch the crossing again, scoop, lift, in, and slowly come down. If you have any wrist issues, again, you can use a little lift like this, which comes very handy. But again, I wouldn't suggest using this for too long, because for all inversions and handstands or any arm work, you're gonna have your palms flat. So do this for a while till you build enough strength, but then don't do it for too long. Move into a block because it's a flat surface, or straight to the ground. Same thing, curl in, lift, maybe scoop, scoop, switch, doop, doop, and slowly down. So moving into the next little workout as well that you can do to get closer towards the pickup, jump back and jump through. It's working your way through Lalasana. So from here, once you feel like this is comfortable, curl, 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 and back, switch, up, and down. We're gonna move into the next part of the work. You're gonna start from this position and have your hands flat. Like earlier, let's say we're using the blocks. Place your palms onto the blocks in here. Find rootness through the base of each finger and through the base of the palm. Now from here, as you press the hand down, press with the thumb and the index finger down, you're gonna actually push the floor away. Start pushing before you even lift anything, and then squeeze the knees in, and come down for a break. Again, press the hands down, scoop up, 3, 2, 1, and slowly come down. Again, press down, up, 3, 2, 1, and slowly come down. Now we're gonna add a little bit more heat to it. Same thing. I'm gonna actually press the hands down, scoop the knees in, maybe float one leg up for 3, 2, 1, and then switch. 3, 2, 1, release, and slowly come down. Take a little break. Again, you can always give a little stretch like this onto the wrist. Give it a little break. Or if you're comfortable, you can do both at the same time. And then of course from here, again, we're gonna repeat it. Press the hands down, we're gonna squeeze the knees in, up, scoop, and maybe float both feet up. Hold it for 3, 2, and 1, slowly release it down. And again, this is another great way to play with shooting back. So maybe from here, try to push the hands down, scoop the knees in, and then even if you have a little brief second, up, up, to transition through chaturanga, up dog, and moving back. Now another important component as well is the jumping through. Often what happens, there is not enough height, so people end up hitting the ground with their feet. Now the scoop really happens in the bandha lift in order to be able to push the floor firmly away and to slide your legs through. So we're gonna do it with the block first and then without the block. So from here, often what happens with people, high up inhale, as you exhale, they try to jump through, but they don't lift the hips high enough. You wanna get the hips over the shoulders, because if you don't, this is what happens. You hit the ground. Right? Unless you're gonna practice with going with cross feet in and through. It's a fear of going over and into a handstand, but that's way harder. So maybe for the start, hands on the blocks, high. And if you're afraid that you're gonna get over, just think of feet through and give it a few tries in here. Up and back. Now watch my hips right now. In order to go through with your legs straight, you really wanna get your legs, your hips right over the shoulders. Up and then lift the hips and then back. So it's that little up in order to go through. And without the blocks. So make sure from here that you're not going straight in, because you're gonna get stuck, especially if you have long legs. From here, you wanna go up with the hips over the shoulders and then take it under. So from here, up and then through before you sit down on the ground. Another little great thing to work on, let me just pause here, too much information at once. So from here, before you even go through, think what's happening in here. You wanna push the floor away, push the floor away. Move the front of the ribcage towards the back. So protraction of your shoulders, keep pushing, keep scooping the abdomen in. Scoop in, and then maybe play with taking one leg like this a little bit through. And then play with the opposite hip. Again, if this is not accessible with hands down on the ground, elevate your hands with the blocks. Same thing, push, and play with one leg hop. and then the other. Maybe I'll just seat it in here. Another great way to start to work on the lower bandhas in here. It's maybe from here, and this is a little bit more advanced. So you're gonna try to push the floor away, down into the earth, scoop, and maybe, and slowly bring it down. Again, one more. And slowly down. I'm going to demonstrate right now a couple of other little exercises that you can do. So on top of doing those little lifts, daily switch. When that gets easier, then maybe try to do it up and float the feet a little bit. After that, we're gonna move into the next little exercise, strengthening the front hip flexors. So you're gonna have your hands moving a little bit more forward. You don't have to go too far. The further forward you go, the more challenging it gets. So maybe start with your hands in here, close to your knees. Don't expect to lift both legs at the same time immediately. We're gonna work one leg at a time. So let's start with the right, maybe a few times up and down, and then switch. As that gets easier, maybe you start to work on lifting both. Next little one, you might want to have socks near, or a blanket or something that you can actually slide, because it makes it much easier. I'm pretty strong, so I think I'll be able to do it here on the mat. But again, please make sure that you have a surface that is a little slippery, or just add socks so you can move in and out. Hands will stay flat, have them a little bit between the hips and your knees. And then for some, this is where you're gonna be. Just push, push. You might not even lift, push. Push, do the same thing. Press with the thumb and the index finger down. Grow taller through the inner arms. Scoop the navel in, scoop it in. And maybe just do this. That's enough. As you keep doing this daily, it gets easier. At some point, you'll float the hips up. Maybe that's enough. And sit. Push, float up, and sit. Push, float up, and sit. As that gets easier, then you can start adding the L shape. I'll demonstrate it. Or just work your way towards that. So from here, press down. This is the L shape. But again, the exercise that we're gonna do, you don't have to lift immediately up. Hands will stay down. You're just gonna scoop. So if you can get it up, play with scooping back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my goodness. Oh, you love this exercise. Oh, you do. Oh, no, I love you too. I love you too. Hey, that's my prop. That's my prop. Don't steal that. Come on. So again, we're gonna add on in here. Again, you can just do from here. Push, lift, scoop it back. Float the right foot on top of the left for 3, 2, 1. Switch. 3, 2, 1. And slowly release it down. Take a little break. If you need to stretch the wrist. And then give it maybe one more try. Lift, scoop, float the right. 3, 2, 1. Switch. 3, 2, 1. Down. A break. And as you progress and it gets easier, you'll be able to float a little bit further up. Or maybe adding a little more challenging variation where you're gonna try to float the feet up, push. Precious, hi. I gotta go through. Beep, 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 beep. I gotta go through. I gotta go through. And that will be it for today. A little TikTok exercises to move you closer towards the pickup. Jesus, TikTok.